Hey, this morning I am, it's actually a kind of a cool spring morning, but I'm in Fishers, Indiana, just a little bit east of Carmel, north of Indianapolis at Flat Fork Creek Park. Super cool park, lots and lots of stuff to do here. It's really big. Right where I'm at right now, it's pretty wide open. You got the sledding hill behind me and you can walk up the switchbacks to get to the top, and it's a pretty nice view. There's some woods back this direction, which you can go hiking in. There's tree houses back in there. It's a pretty cool place just to come and hang out. And the reason I'm here is because usually I'll tell people to go here and visit this if they don't know Fishers. If they just, of course, want to learn a little bit more about Fishers, they probably need to know that something like this exists. So this is a question that comes up throughout the year from a lot of people, and it has throughout the years. So the conversation usually goes like this. It's a question where say, hey, we're coming in, we're thinking about moving to Indianapolis or just one of the cities surrounding Indianapolis, like a Brownsburg or a Fishers or Carmel or Greenfield or something like that. And we're coming in at the end of May for 3 days, and we're gonna just check things out. Okay, so this is great. Now, if you are coming in to check things out, obviously you're coming in to see if it's gonna be a fit for you, or if you already know it's gonna be a fit for you, just the whole area, or you have to be here, you're moving for whatever reason, like a job or closer to family or something like that. You're trying to figure out what city is gonna fit you the best. But I think, unless you've been here a lot or you've lived here before, people don't realize how big the whole Indianapolis metro really is. It's usually bigger than what people think. There's a couple million people that live in this entire metropolitan area. So if you're coming in for 3 days, obviously it can be a little bit confusing as to what you should do. And putting an itinerary together can be tricky because it is bigger. If you get off that airplane and you drive in and you think you're gonna explore the entire metro, that most people understand that's probably too much over a few days. But if you're gonna explore Brownsburg and Avon and Carmel and Westfield, just as an example, that's still a really large area and you need some organization when you're here for those few days. So in years past, we've given people a list. In each of the cities that surround Indianapolis, here's a list of places that you can use to put on your itinerary and go to and learn a little bit more about that place. So Fishers, as an example, Flat Fork Creek Park is on that list, along with, I think we've got maybe 14 other places on there. There's a lot to see in Fishers, just alone. So this is what I mean. If you're gonna explore a bunch of different cities, there's a lot to see in there. Now, you don't have to explore every single part to understand the city better than what you did before. Now, are you gonna understand it completely down to its core? What its personality is exactly like and every single in and out? Not in a few days. It's just impossible to do. You have to live there actually for a while. But coming to a place like this can give you a sense as to what this part of Fishers is like. And it gives you a chance, couple things actually. It gives you a chance to see what this part of Fishers is like. It allows you to develop your own perceptions of what you feel like it's really like. I mean, I think there's some pretty objective views about this part of Fishers that almost everybody would agree with. I think if you come out here, you're gonna notice that there's a lot of new construction, a lot of newer homes, very, very few older homes out here. And it's also going to feel a little bit more rural because you're out on that far eastern edge of Fishers. That's why I would want you to go here, so you could notice that and notice that East Fishers is a little bit more like that. And also it's great to know that a place like this exists and that anywhere you live in Fishers, this really isn't that far away. And even if you're exploring a place like Westfield, you could come to Flat Fork Creek, especially if you get some snow and you can do the sledding hill here, or you can mountain bike that thing, or you could hike and walk around in the trails, bring your kids out here. I mean, it's available to everybody, not just Fishers residents. So the point would be on that list is for you to develop those places that you really like the most, and of course the places that may be more important that you don't like and you want to avoid. So getting out into a place like this where it feels really open and new versus a place like this, Holland Park, which is way on the west side of Fishers, and it's kind of in that more original part of Fishers. So things are gonna look a lot more mature and quite a bit older. Now when we say original Fishers, it's not the original set of houses or very small number of houses that were in Fishers. Actually, a lot of those are gone at this point. But this is pretty close to when Fishers began to grow a long time ago. So a lot of homes here from the 1980s and even some from the 70s too. You get 80s and 90s and things like that. And at this point, that's 30 and 40 years old. So the trees are gonna be 30, 40, 50, and sometimes a lot older than that. Now this park here, Holland Park, the park itself doesn't look necessarily old. In fact, they've improved a lot through here. And this is actually Fishers' very first park. So it has been around a while, but got some pickleball courts that were installed not that long ago here. Obviously, pickleball has exploded and it wasn't all that big back in the 80s. Although I remember in the 90s, whenever I was in the 80s and 90s in high school, we played pickleball in the winter in the gym. And that's the last time I heard of it until here in the past 5 years or so. But there are the basketball courts and baseball fields, softball fields. It's a really big park, a big walking path going around it, but it's very mature around here. So this would be one of the places I'd say you need to come in West Fishers just to see a really major difference between East and West Fishers. So this list that we've given to people was essentially a PDF for years, and it had all the places you could visit to get to know some of these cities a little bit better, and the address and the website so you can know a little bit more about those particular spots. But now we've put it into an app. So you can check all of these places in the app and you can pop it right into your GPS. So you don't have to worry about putting it in yourself, and you can just drive the car and observe everything around you, because that is the whole point of all these places. But there's an extra level to it as well. Not just all of these stock places that make up some of the personality of each of these cities. Now the other aspect, it's customized to you specifically. So let's say your price range is 400 to 500,000 and you're looking in Brownsburg, Fishers, Westfield, just as examples. Well, we would give you specifically, neighborhoods to go into to give you an idea as to what your money can buy in each of those cities. And that really helps to narrow things down. Now these houses might not be on the market anymore, they might be sold, but they sold for a particular price, they're a certain number of bedrooms. We can't give you addresses to neighborhoods because neighborhoods don't have addresses. So we can give you a specific house to go to. It's a good example of what you might find in that neighborhood. You might hate the house, you might love the house, that kind of doesn't matter. It's just a place to get into that neighborhood. So this, just as an example, this is absolutely a place that we send a lot of people in Fishers. You need to come into this neighborhood here in Sunblest. This is what really mature Fishers looks like. And of course, in here, you're gonna have homes in the 80s, some newer, some older, and a lot of different levels of renovation too. Some need a lot of work and some have had all that work done, so the price can fluctuate all over the place, but you'll see some smaller homes here. In order to get into some of the bigger homes, you're gonna have to go back over where we were earlier at Flat Fork Creek. So all of that information we've now put into an app that's really easy to use. If you have questions about the app or you want just to look at it and use it to help with an upcoming trip that you have to explore the area, to again develop your own preferences based on your own perceptions, then reach out. And I will say, if you leave a comment in the video, that's not the best way, unfortunately, to reach out, because a lot of those comments can be missed. So an email, a text, any of those ways are probably the best. But that app, we feel like, has already helped streamline exploration for a lot of people. I mean, we can put ourselves in other people's shoes, and if I were to go to Omaha, Nebraska, or a city in New Hampshire, let's say, and I wanted to really get to know it, where do I go? How do I do this? And so that same idea we've applied around here, because I want you guys, just like I would want myself, to go in and form my own opinions. So again, if you have questions about that, if you want to look into it further about your trip, then reach out any way that you know how, minus the comments, because those are really tough, really tough. So other methods reaching out, look in the description below, contact information is in there, and we'll catch you in the next one.